I'm back again. Like I said, in the next clip I would kind of go over where we got, or how we got to where we are at. On this one, what I want to tell you about is that I started working on the plot about 9 months ago, so it took me a while to kind of figure out where I was going to go with this 10th book. Like I said, the characters have grown over time. They were very simple, and now it's very complex. They have many, many responsibilities. They're always trying to fight evil. There is a surprise or a secret, I guess I should say, a secret revealed in every book, and then that secret then gets built upon in the next book, and there's a secret revealed in, or two, maybe even in that one, and then that one's built upon in the next one. So a lot of people like that, I believe, is having secrets, learning secrets, and then having that become a part of the story, interwoven. So there's been several good reviews on this series, so just to kind of let you know that it's well liked. The last book that came out was, like I said, number 8, and then that's number 8 right there. And you can see at the bottom here is the Night Sins, a picture of the Night Sins soundtrack that's out there, so we'll give that a check out on there online. Just look up Night Sins and Virgil, and it'll pop up. 2 songs I like on there are called Jaden's Theme, because the main character in the story is Jaden, and then I also like the other one called Guardians of Night, so I'll try that one too. I like those. Those are my favorites on the soundtrack. So whenever I went in to get ready to get this 10th one started out for the plot, I had to go back through and read the first 9 again, so that took a while, so I had to reread them, because you got to get back in tune with the characters, remember who did what and everything. I also had to keep track of, and I did throughout each book, and I would suggest this highly if you're going to do a series, that you keep track of all your characters, write down somewhere what they look like, hair color, eye color, how tall they are, their little quirks and stuff that they have that makes them who they are. Also writing down, if they wear certain perfumes and things, so that you can make sure that you put that in the stories. The more you tell about them personally, the better the story is. What their moods are and different things, their likes, dislikes. And keep track of those. Keep dates. In a series, if you're having dates and sequential like mine is, mine started in the year 2000, and now in this one it's going to be the year 2038, you need to keep track of dates and how old everybody is and stuff. So that can be difficult. And like me, I have all these different realms. Upper realms has different levels, so I had to keep track of what is in each level, like who is like the ruler or overseer in each one of those levels. What they looked like and stuff, so that it gets complicated. So it's not easy to write a story. So what I ended up doing is taking and writing down all kinds of ideas and thoughts that come in my head of what I wanted number 10 to have in it, possibly. And then I took all that information and I took a picture of this, so you can go on and look at the picture online. I took a picture of where I had written down things, paper that I kept with me in a purse that I had in the car. Wrote down ideas. Ooh, I think this would be a good battle scene, because there are battle scenes in my books, because it's good versus evil. You have good vampires clashing with the bad, and there's certain rules they have to follow. They can't just pick up guns and shoot each other and things. There's rules that has to be followed in battle, so they can't do that. So there's certain weapons that are allowed to use, and of course they do have some of the Guardians and Pure Ones and stuff have certain magic that they can use. But then I wrote it all down on paper, and then I put it in a folder, and then I started spreading it out, trying to figure out a timeline or a line to follow for the story. I took a picture of that so you can see how I spread it all out, trying to figure what should go first, what should go second. And then I ended up coming up with a timeline, and it looks something like this. And I write down everything that I think should happen first, second. I wrote down the year it started, what I think maybe will be chapter 1, and chapter 2, and so forth. So then that gives me a guide on what to go by. But it doesn't mean you have to follow that guide exactly. You can add things in as it goes along. As the story goes along, sometimes your characters take over, and they just all of a sudden just go down a whole nother beaten path that you hadn't even planned on. And that's fine, perfectly fine. Sometimes the best scenes that you write are the ones the characters make for you, not the ones that you thought of for them. So you just jot that in there, though. If you do something, jot it in there so you'll know where that was at when you want to go back and check it out to make sure everything flowed. And then you just kind of follow down through that line so that you can get through the story. Most writers do make an outline of their story. A lot of them have to make an outline of the story and get it approved by their publisher before they can even start on the story. They have to actually, publishers will actually say, oh, well, I don't like this part in the outline, I don't like that part, delete this, add something else. So sometimes even the writer themselves doesn't really get to be the creator of the story. Other people get their 2 cents worth in sometimes, so you have to be prepared for that. Sometimes you have to change things, add to them, and I've had to do that before, different times, add to the story, or change an ending. I've had to do that, change a title, I've had to do that. In my books, the titles mean something. They all connect with the story, so it's kind of hard to change titles on my stories because it all connects with the story itself. It's all interwoven. So anyway, writing down the outline is very important then on how you want the story to try and proceed. But again, you can veer from that, and that's perfectly fine. So for the outline then, it took me probably about, I'd say 4 or 5 days once I gathered everything together to decide what I wanted the outline to look like, and I got it written down on a tablet. And I've added to since then, blue and pink, and it ends up being a big mess. And I keep all of that, put it in a binder for later, and I can go back and look and see what happened there too. So keep everything that you use to write with. Also, it took time for me to go online and do research. I had to do a lot of research. That took me about, I'd say at least a couple months off and on doing research for the places I want my characters to go. Names all mean something in my story, so it'll go online and look for names and meanings for names. That took some time. Let's see here. I'm trying to think what else. In these last few stories in this Guardian series, there's a lot of technical stuff involved, and as far as things like tracking devices, how people could be tracked, stuff about your money, about these cards that you can use at the store, many different things that I have to go online and look up, and how does that work exactly and stuff. So how would you block things like that? So I have a lot of that stuff built in here as well. So it's not just books for women. Men enjoy them too. I have men all over the world that read this series. And also right now, the books are being translated into a language over in India. One of the languages, they have many over there, but one of the languages over there for them, so they can enjoy the series. So anyway, timeline then, or my outline, is completed, and so we can get started in on that and see how we go. Anything else to tell you right now? It's just there's a lot involved, so it'll take time, but it'll be fun. I really like this series. I enjoy it a lot. I'm really attached to it. This is supposed to be the last book, but already I have all these thoughts in my mind about what number 11 could be like. So please, I don't know. It's hard to let go when you've had these characters for so long. And I did start writing this a little bit whenever I was in college, early college years. And I'm finished with college now. I've said that anyway, with my doctorate in psych and forensic science. So I'm now saying that I'm done with that, so I can put more time to writing. But it did start when I was doing college classes, and then I set it aside for a while, and then I came across it again and thought, hey, I maybe do something with this. And then it's just snowballed from there. It was going to stop at book 6, because after book 5 I had a lot of emails with people asking, what about this in the story that I read, about their past, the 2 main characters in their past, and where they had lived in the upper realms before, what all happened there, how did they really meet, and so book 6 came out of that. And that was going to be it. But then 7, and then 8, and then 9, and now 10 is what we're looking at. And then now I've got all these thoughts for 11, and I'm crazy, so I need to do something to stop that. The things just come to my mind, and I can't help it. So, but we'll see where this takes us. Anyway, so that's all I can tell you for right now. So this is the second clip in the series. So check back in again for the next one and see where we're at that time. Okay? So thanks for joining me. Bye.